I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, save the people from the villains, catch the crooks who rob the stores, write my name upon the sky, and when you call me, I'll be there, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero. Thoughts, emotions swirled. I wanna be the man that saves the world.
All right, Joe's great show here at the O, March 1st, 2014. And man, what a bunch of physical matches we had tonight.
PK, we had it all. We had great matches, action, adventure, and a crowd that was louder than anything I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you this much, and it started out great. We had Jimmy Lee versus Mystic Storm. And Joe, it's really interesting to see Jimmy Lee in singles competition again, because it's been a while, because, you know, after he did a skull-crushing finale on Cody Fairview and ended the White Trash Tag Team.
That's right.
Now he's back in singles competition.
And I love it, PK, because I'll tell you something. Ever since he got rid of that piece of trash, no pun intended, Cody Fairview, I see a much more aggressive Jimmy Lee. And I'll tell you something, I see a bright future for him. He's ready to get down and dirty.
Well, Joe, he faced off tonight against Mystic Storm for his first match in singles action. And it was a very physical match, but ultimately, Mystic Storm hit him with the Supernova super kick and wound up getting the pin on Jimmy Lee with a 1-2-3.
Right you are, PK. I'll tell you something. Mystic Storm, I got to give it to him. He's got a great persona. He's got a great energy. He's got it all. And he happened to get one over Jimmy Lee. You got to give him one for it.
Well, Joe, when he comes from the other side of the galaxy, you can only imagine, you know, even with space lag, he's still able to perform at the top of his game.
PK, he's from Earth. All right, nobody comes from the other side of the Milky Way.
Okay, well, Joe, you know, that's what you might believe, but, you know, there's thousands of people in Roswell, New Mexico who would disagree. But, you know, I'd like to bring Mystic Storm in right now, fresh off of his victory. Welcome to the recap, Mystic.
Mystic Storm, it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to be here, guys.
So, Mystic, tell us, how did you feel about going against Jimmy Lee?
Well, Jimmy Lee is a very tough competitor, whether he's in the tag or singles.
I'd agree.
During the match, he kind of got a little hot-headed, so I took one up on him.
Well, I'll tell you something. I think it was great. It was a great match. Once again, you performed at the top of your game. Just got one question. What does the future hold for Mystic Storm here in the OSWA?
Well, it's just like any other superstar here in OSWA. I'm looking for gold.
Well, Mystic Storm, you keep performing the way you are, and I can see gold around your waist. Best of luck to you.
Absolutely, Mystic Storm.
Safe travels back to the other side of the galaxy.
Remember one thing. Stand tall, stay strong, and believe.
Well, thanks again, Mystic Storm. Joe, that was a great match. Then we had Zach Daniels versus Z. Now, this was a pretty funny match. You know, Daniels wanted his contract reinstated. And
right.
Commissioner Gentry, yours and mine boss,
was my subordinate.
Anyways, he was in the ring, and he goes, look, you win one match, and you will get to come back into the O. And he goes, you got to face a former Ultimate Champion. And so he wants to face Taco. He's like, yeah, bring Taco out here.
Yeah, why not? Who wouldn't want to face that little Mexican joke?
Well, Joe, who comes in? He calls out the Monster Z.
Yeah, that just shows that Gentry just doesn't want Zach Daniels back.
Well, Joe, was definitely a lot more than he had, but Joe, Zach Daniels did hold his own, but ultimately, it just did not work out. Z won by countout when Daniels basically said, look, I'm done, and walks out of the arena.
Yeah, well, you
with the rest
wait.
of the show in tow, by the way.
Well, you just wait, PK, because I'll tell you something. With being part of the show, he's going to come back. He may have given Z a break, but you just wait. Because when he comes back, show or no show, he's going to win and prove, like he says, that he's the best that the OSWA has offered. You remember what he said. He doesn't need the OSWA. The OSWA needs him.
Well, where he says the OSWA, where he doesn't need the OSWA, he does show up a lot.
Because he cares about the company. There's nothing wrong with that, PK.
Well, Joe, next we had Cody McCauley. He comes out and he basically said, look, I'm going to face any old guy in the back of the ring. I mean, in the back of the locker room. And who winds up coming out? Psycho, half of Ink Inc.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, that is just bad luck.
Yeah.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. Ink Inc., they're nothing but a couple of wrecking machines.
Well, Joe, I got to say this. Cody McCauley, the Angry Beaver,
Will you stop that, PK?
definitely gave it his all. And man, he went back and forth. He showed he had a lot of fight, a lot of heart, but man, Psycho was just too much for him. And he was just about to get the pin when all of a sudden Will Caution and Keith Cage come storming into the ring. They start attacking Psycho, and then all of a sudden the Devlins come in. Now, Joe, the Devlins and Ink Inc. definitely have some mutual respect for each other. But I'll tell you something, man, they cleaned house. And basically, Cody McCauley was, and the rest of Disorderly Conduct was let out of the arena like the garbage that they were.
Yeah, so the Devlins, they fear Ink Inc. They were just sucking up to them. That's what it is. They were kissing their behinds because they don't want to take the thrashing and the beatings that all the other ones take at the hands of Ink Inc.
Well, Joe, then after that, we had Mr. Hollywood, the corporate champion, versus this newcomer named the Black Falcon, who's also wearing a mask.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. Just as I called it, it wasn't a match. It was a squash. And you know what? The show, being the greatest stable in the world of professional wrestling, and being ran by Mr. Hollywood, you knew he was going to take that Blue Falcon and throw him out of the arena and back in the garbage where he belongs.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you something. Mr. Hollywood, he hit him with 2 Walk of Fames and a lights, camera, action.
It was poetry in motion.
And he got the victory.
That's right.
He successfully defended his corporate championship against a newcomer who may or may not should have been in the ring in the first place.
The most one-sided, but probably one of the most beautiful forms of wrestling I've ever seen.
Well, Joe, you know, the Blue Falcon, I don't know if we'll see him again or not. If we do, I look forward to it. Well, then after that, we were just about to go to intermission.
Hey.
Then all of a sudden, Joe, hold on. Joe, our fans deserve to know. Mr. Gentry, our commissioner, your boss and mine.
Not my boss.
Well, he starts, saying, hey, we got some special guests. And the cutest little Girl Scout comes up who wants to sell her cookies here at the arena. And all of a sudden you start coming into the ring and insulting this Girl Scout.
I just don't want any soliciting here at the arena.
Well, anyways.
For tax purposes.
Well, you asked her, hey, are you here by yourself? And she said no. And then all of a sudden, this other cute little Girl Scout dressed in a Thin Mint costume comes in. Yeah. And while you're yelling at her, the first one gets behind, her name was Clarissa. Clarissa gets behind you, and the Thin Mint takes you down, and the 2 girls pin you 1, 2, 3 for your 0-1 record. Joe, you've got a perfect record of defeat here in the O.
I love having that smile on your grill as you talk about something that is very embarrassing and personal to me. I'll tell you why. They caught me by surprise. Those little brownies, they're supposed to be sweet, young little girls. But I'll tell you something, they attacked me, and I can't hit a girl. I was defenseless. I had to just go with whatever they were doing to me. And guess what? Gentry had to rub salt in my wounds, and he counted me 1, 2, 3 super quick. What else was I supposed to do? I was defenseless. I can't fight back at little girls.
Joe, I've never seen you so impassioned about talking about a match before.
Will you shut up, PK?
Hey, Joe, just think, with an 0-1 record, really, you could only get better. Maybe.
Let's just face it, we're all going to forget that, especially all the dear ditch diggers out there.
Oh, Joe, everybody here at the O tonight will never forget that.
Yeah, if you don't let them.
Well, Joe, then we had the Devlins versus Disorderly Conduct, and represented by Keith Cage and Will Caution.
That's
and, of
right.
course, Gentry then, at the last minute, changed it to a title match.
That's right. To no avail.
And he also said, look, the winners of the next show are going to have to face the original Ink Inc.
Yeah.
And so, Joe, they went at it, and I'll tell you something. What happened was Will Caution, he missed a swanton off the top ropes, and then, unfortunately, when Matt Devlin, when Matt Devlin came down on top of him, he also received quite a bit of injury. Will Caution was able to re-roll him and got the win. Then they kept their titles. And so now Disorderly Conduct's going to have to face Ink Inc.
But still the championship. And let's just put it this way. The little boy and his dear daddy couldn't get the job done.
Well, Joe, the interesting thing was, after that, Disorderly Conduct, they're celebrating their victory. And then, Chimes comes in and asks Arya out on a date. Well, then Arya all of a sudden just turns on him and says, get him, boys, and disorderly conduct start beating him up.
The best rejection I've ever seen by a girl.
Well, Joe, it doesn't end there. This new guy, we've been seeing promos of him. Vengeance comes out.
Yeah.
And when Vengeance comes out, they initially think he's going to join disorderly conduct. But
Yeah,
man,
well, he should have.
It couldn't have been further from the truth. He took out Cody McCauley. He took out Will Caution. Keith Cage is up there holding his 24/7 championship belt that he just got off of Chives. He then brings him down, hits him with an execution twice. That's his finishing maneuver. And then rolls Chives on top of him for the count. 1, 2, 3. Chives is once again for the third time, our 24/7 champion.
Yeah, one of the most disgusting entrances I've ever seen.
Well, then Joe, Vengeance reveals who he is. He comes straight out and says, "Hey, I'm Chris Damian.
Yeah.
As the All-American, I could not go out there and execute justice on these people that come out here and disturb our matches and wreak havoc in the OSWA." But what was interesting was his wife Jackie obviously didn't know what he was up to and was very concerned and disappointed by this new Chris Damian.
Well, because he's taken over. He wants to be judge, jury, and executioner. You can't give anybody total power like that. Because a person that has that much power to give anything like that away also has the power to take it from the people.
So, Joe, do you think you shouldn't have that kind of power then?
I already have it, but that doesn't matter. I have a more of a sound mind.
Oh.
I have greater judgment. I have everything better than that guy.
And Joe, and I bet everybody that's watched our recaps from the beginning, they will all say what a sound mind you have.
Absolutely. I call it right down the middle, just like I always say it.
Well, Joe, then we had we basically wound up having two main events. We had Alex Diamond Decker and Zach Blaine teaming up against Curtis Coleman and our Ultimate Champion, Chad Silva.
Yeah, the ultimate excuse.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you something. It was a great match. Really back and forth action. I'll tell you something. Both teams, it was kind of hard to tell which one was going to win. But in the end, Chad Silva hit Zach Blaine with his price cut.
That's right.
And Curtis Coleman hit Alex Decker with a Stay Fresh. And Silva pinned Blaine for the win, 1, 2, 3. And Joe, I'll tell you something. With all the bad blood between them, it's obvious to me that our Ultimate Champion has a lot of momentum going forward because he's taking out these guys one by one that are lining up to defeat him.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. Every dog has his day, PK.
Well, Joe, then we had our final match, which was Rod Bolt versus Jake Hughes in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And Joe, this is by far the most interesting Falls Count Anywhere match that we have ever had.
Let's put it this way, PK. It was one of the most violent matches I've ever seen. And I can't believe that those two wrestlers could take such a beating but keep going.
Well, Joe, I mean, it went from, the ring to the entrance ramp where they wound up both taking a bunch of falls from each other, up here into the commissioner's office where you see Rod Bolt's face being thrown up against the window here.
Yeah.
Then they worked their way back down, but then, Joe, after 4 code breakers and a DDT on the ring apron, Rod Bolt winds up getting the victory.
That's right. Remember that, ditch diggers. Rod Bolt, the better man.
And Joe, I got to say, this is now 2 victories for the show
That's
where
right.
there's no outside interference.
Where they belong.
I'm not a huge fan of the show, Joe, but they really have brought it these last couple of shows.
Well, don't be jealous of like the mediocre ditch diggers. Let me tell you something, PK. They're just flat out better than the other wrestlers.
Well, Joe, we do have Rod Bolt here. I'd like to have a few moments with him to say
That's right. I tell you guys, hey, all you people out there, welcome to the O Show and welcome to the interview of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Lightning Rod Bolt.
Should take notes from this guy.
That's right, PK. You take notes from me, and don't you forget it, pal.
I sure won't. I sure won't. Well, let me ask you this, Rod. It was a great match. I will give you credit. I'm not a huge fan of the show, but I'll tell you something. You really brought it. So, what was by far kind of the highlights of this match that you feel that maybe we have missed talking about?
Of course, me pinning Jake 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring.
That's right, PK.
That's the only highlight you need to know.
That's true. So let me ask you this: what do you see as your future here in the O? I mean, is this stuff between you and Jake Hughes going to keep going? Is his entrance video going to still show him whooping up on you, and your entrance video show him?
PK, stop disrespecting him.
I was just about to say something. I was about to be.
I don't care what his entrance video shows. I don't care what happens from here on. I beat him in the middle of that ring. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you did.
And now I am the man around here. Not him, not anybody else.
The man.
Me.
The man, right here.
Just like Mystic Storm said, I'm going after the gold.
That's right. But I'll tell you something, Rod. You fought a much tougher match than Mystic Storm. So yeah, your chance of the gold is a whole lot greater. And the gold belongs with the show.
Well, Rod, like I said, it was a great match. You really put forth a lot of effort, and it paid off, man. It was a good match.
Man, I tell you, you did awesome. You are up there in a whole nother stratosphere.
Thank you, sir.
I can't wait to see. This is the future. Mr. Hollywood is the future. No, they are the present and the future. That's what I have to say, people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Rod,
Joe,
hey, I'll see you on the Sunset Strip when all the ladies are chasing us around.
from stalking them and peeping in their windows.
Will
There
you
go.
shut up, PK?
Well, folks, it was a great show here at the O. We're going to be here again on March 15th. And, folks, you really need to make it for this one. Tag Team Championships are up for grabs. It's going to be Disorderly Conduct versus the original Ink Inc.
Oh, I can't wait.
These guys have been hungry for gold. And I'll tell you something. Disorderly Conduct wants to hold on to their gold. And, Joe, I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
What I did was I went and talked to those Girl Scouts after
Yeah.
your defeat.
No,
At their
after
hands.
their surprise. They Pearl Harbored me, PK.
Well, Joe, regardless, after your defeat, and Joe, I just want to say, I've got an offer for you.
Whoa.
Here's a
wait,
Thin
Paul-
Mint.
Will you shut up,
And Joe,
PK?
this is probably the only Thin Mint you'll ever be able to pin.
That's all I gotta say about that Thin Mint. And each of those Girl Scouts, I'm gonna sue them, and I'm gonna own them, and I'm gonna sell those cookies for my profit.
Would they then be called Joe Scouts of America?
Shut up, PK.
Well, folks, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.